Hi, myself Narayan Prasad Banke, and I have almost 12 years working experience with .NET. I covered almost all the area of the .NET, whether you talk about the desktop applications or web applications. I covered almost all areas. I have uh, a good experience on like architect a product, architecture of the project, and I have experience on the leading a team. Currently, I'm working with a company, a product-based company, where mostly I am dealing with uh, the high level coding, architect, and analyzing, gathering requirement, and mentoring the team. So this is all about me. Today, uh, I'm going to give a demo about the Azure Web App, and let us first see the theory part of the Azure Web App. Let me share the screen. So here, Azure Web App is a feature provided by the Azure Cloud. It's basically for hosting a web service or hosting any application, any website. So in a legacy mechanism where if you want to deploy your application or deploy your website, you have to purchase, you have to host, you have to communicate to the hosting provider, and then you have to give the code to them, or you have to upload your code onto the machine. That all actually uh, based on your physical in-person interaction, and upfront you have to pay for money for hosting that application or website. But now, once this Azure cloud comes into the picture, they have given a very good feature that is called Azure Web Apps, through which we can host our application, host our website, and it's very flexible in terms of costing, in terms of operation, in terms of maintenance. So basically, it's a platform as a service feature provided by the Azure cloud. So in this slide, this is an introduction like uh, Azure Web App is a cloud computing based platform for hosting website created and operated by Microsoft. It is a platform as a service which allow publishing web app running on multiple frameworks and written in different programming languages. One very good feature of this web apps is it supports almost all languages. Like if you talk about the C Sharp, whether it's a .NET or a .NET Core or PHP, Java, JavaScript, Python, Ruby. And Docker is a mechanism where you can just containerize your application, and through Docker you can deploy it. Now, the what are the other advantages of a scale of Azure Web App? So scaling and availability is the other features, like because it is given by the Microsoft, and they promise us like if anything goes wrong with your application once you deploy to the Azure Web Service, they promise us for 99.95 SLA. Means that if anything happen, whether it's a power breakdown or anything which breaks your applications, which shut down your applications. So Microsoft is promising that it is available at the rate of 99.95 percentage. Means immediately it will be available even if it is a shutdown. The other feature is scalability. Means if your application is taking so much of burden, or um, if your application is consumed by so many users, right? So we have a very good feature that is a scale up and scale out. So if there are a lot of traffic, you can just scale up your application. Means that you can just uh, take more resources from the Azure, and you can just share that resources in the application. Scale out means if you have lesser number of users to be hit, then you can just scale down. Means you can just you can just utilize the limited resource. So that is a dynamic facility you can just set up through the Azure Web App Service. The other features are like it is inbuilt feature, like we have the ISO, SOC, and PCI complement, and we have a authentication features like Azure Active Directory. So you can just club the Azure Active Directory or existing users uh, for authentication to the application, and even uh, you can provide the authentication through the Google, Facebook, Twitter, and other Microsoft Live. One more feature is that like it is integrated with the Visual Studio, meaning that uh, if you are developing the application in your Visual Studio, we have a facility there. Directly, you can publish your code to the Azure App Service. And of course, like we have APIs. So API also we can publish to the Azure App Service. So this is all about. So let's move and create a Azure Web Service. So I have already an account in portal, Azure portal. So let me log in it. So everything you can handle using the Azure portal. So once we create the Azure Web App, that is the first step, and then we'll try to deploy through the Visual Studio with the same application. So here you have to go in the home and create a resource. So you can just search as a web app, or you can find it here like web app. So just say let's create. So whatever subscription you have to select that. And if you have more than one subscription, and here we have to select the resource group. So in Azure, everything comes under the resource group. So right now, I don't have any resource, or I have already a resource like demo, so I can just utilize this. If you don't have any resource, you can just create from here, create new. And then we have to give a unique name there. So once you give demo app, so I have given the demo app, but you see this should be unique in entire domain. So if you say like demo app dot Azure website.net, so if somebody has already taken, so we can just say 1 2 3 4. This is also taken, so better to give some. So this is available, and then we can just here you have to tell that whether you want to publish a code or a Docker container. Let's take it as a code. because we are going to create a simple application from the Visual Studio, and then we'll deploy from there. And other is runtime stacks, whether it's so let's say like we will do it from the .NET Core, or if you .NET Core 3.1. And the one beautiful thing is here, like it is supported the both environment like Linux and Windows. So you have a choice for that in the region. So it should be very near to our location. So we can choose it like any nearby location, like we have a West India. And then we have this plan. This is actually, if you see here, so this is what through which we can um, so every web app have a plan. So if you see this, if you create a new, so you have to give, I have already this, and next is SKU and sizes. This is actually the costing, like you can just decide this, what are the uh, resources you require, like what are the capacity of the resource you require. So we can go with dev test or production. For dev test, it is just like we have a different mechanism here, like F1, which is giving a 1 GB memory and 60 minutes per day. So this is free, so we can utilize this. And if you choose this, we shared infrastructure, so it will give you the custom domain also. So you can utilize your already you have a domain, you can just map it. And here you can, so based on the size and cost, it gives you the more features. So let's take this shared infrastructure, and let's proceed. Let's say create and review. It will take hardly 1 minute, and you are good to go. So it internally creates the folder structure. Generally, when you host your application, so in a IaaS or in a hosting provider, it creates a folders where you just keep your all executable and all necessary files there. In a similar way, internally it creates the folder structure, and it will be ready for us. So if you see is the deployment incomplete, and when you go to the resource, and here we can see all the features there. So you can see my URL here. So either you can just directly navigate this, or there is a copy. Just when we keep it here in the net, you see here our website is running, right? So this is what now there are certain features are there. So this is here we have the all the details of our app service, like URL, the plan, and even they are getting the FTP. Through FTP also you can just deploy your application. And this is a location on which data center it is created. In the left side, there are a lot of stuffs are there. So like activity log, you have a tag, you can give some tag name here, and if you have more than one web service for just for searching. And you have certain things here, like as we discussed, like scale up and scale out. So within a single click, actually you can just scale up your applications. Like if you are going to give it to the production, you can simply change it here so that it will be available for the production. And similarly, scale out. So if you have already taken for a production or a larger um, plan, you can just scale out through this feature. There are certain other properties like locks. So you can lock your you can lock your you can just define the lock here. And there are like app service plan. We have what are the app service plan, you have utilized it here. So there are a lot of features are there like logs, whatever logs comes, so all those. So this is what our, now let us move and create a simple application in a .NET Core, and then from the Visual Studio we will just deploy that. So I have already opened this, and let's create a simple .NET Core web app. Here we can select this, and let's use this simple .NET Core model view controller, a simple applications. Let's create next. Give some name, demo app, and let's create. And this is just for just a demo to create the application through Visual Studio and deploying to the cloud. Let's leave it as it is. So here we have created this application. So we will just run it and see how this works, and then we will publish it to the cloud. So we can see here our application is running fine. So now let's stop this and try to publish to the Azure. So here we have this, we have to just select the project and right click and say publish. So few things we have to give it here, like we have to select our subscription here if you have more than one, and basically it asks for the Azure account, Azure portal account. So there are different flavors are there. So now we are publishing our applications to Azure. So let's select this and click next. And here, you know, like as I said, this application can be hosted to the Windows or Linux or even for Azure App Service Container, Container Registry, and even for virtual machines. So right now we have created our app service in the Azure App Service in Windows. So let's select this, and then we have, it will just fetch our in the top you can see there are a lot of accounts are there. So I have created the Azure App Service using this. So let's select this, and then automatically it will give you the created app service here. So you have to just select it and then say finished. So once you finish, automatically it will take care the deployment. You can see here on the information like so here configuration is release, target, framework, deployment, and all those things stuff you can see it here. And let's say now publish. So once you click the publish, in the bottom side you can see all the information. So it will start building, and then it will create the packages. So this will take almost 2 to 3 minutes. Once it deploy, a message will come successfully deployed, and even directly you can just navigate through this URL. It will give you the URL, and through which directly you can just navigate. It's basically once it is built in a release mode, it will just take all our build um, packages. You see here, installation of website extension is in progress. So build is succeeded, publish is succeeded. Now it is installing it to our website, website. So here, if you see now again, if you uh, go back to the portal and see the URL, and just if you click this, you can see our website is running. Now you can see this demo web gurustack.azurewebsite.net. It is running. So that's all from this. Thank you very much.